I apologize, we're running just a couple minutes behind. It's 5:35, but we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody to our March Board of Commissioners meeting. Thank you all for being here. With the meeting called to order, if you would join me, I'm going to stand and lead us in the invocation. And then following the invocation, Director Elrock, would you lead us in the pledge? Father, we thank you for bringing us here safely tonight. We just ask you to be with us, to guide us, to direct us, to give us wisdom, discernment. Just ask for you to look after our community, God. We're just praying for you to just be in the midst of all that's going on, and with everyone who's suffering, everyone who's worried, everyone who's anxious, everyone who's just falling on tough times, God. We're just asking you to step in and meet those needs, to help us to be a community that honors you. And we just thank you for being with us tonight, and we ask you to continue to guide us and direct us and be with all of those who keep us safe. And we just ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on. We'll move on to item 4, which is the amendments to the agenda. I do have one amendment to the agenda, and that is on items 11 and 12, the executive session and the approval of the executive session minutes. I would like to make an amendment that we do not go into executive session tonight. In the interest of time, I do have to get back to Atlanta right after this meeting's over, so I've got a family member in the hospital, so I'm on night shift tonight. So if that's okay with everyone to have that amendment, yes, we'll move forward with the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that amendment?
So moved. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, we'll move on through to employee recognitions. Before we kick off with employee recognition, I'm going to ask the tax commissioner, Mr. Daniel Reeves, if he can come up to do an employee recognition. But before that, I'd like to recognize our tax commissioner because today's his birthday. Out of respect for you and out of the knowledge that it's being recorded right now, I will not sing. So come up and celebrate your 39th birthday again, and we'll turn the floor over to you for recognition.
Thank you. All right. So we want to thank the Board of Commissioners for allowing us to do this. We try to do this every quarter, and this is for actually the 4th quarter of the year for last year. We try to recognize it started out as most productive, but it's turned into a lot of things. You know, the most productive, best customer service. They do become a little competitive with it, but it entails a lot of things from how many interactions they have with customers, customer comment cards, how many phone calls they answer. It goes into a lot of things, and so they work very hard to get this and to be part of this. But I want to he's actually only been here since last July, so he's not even been here a year. And but coming all the way from the Jersey Shore, New Jersey, Benny, the Scenario, Picorino, we want to recognize him as our 4th. He's Ben Pickering, by the way. But we want to recognize him because he's just been great. His customer service is great. His productivity is good. His documents, everything is correct, accurate. He does a fantastic job, works well with everyone around him. He's just a good person, does a great job, and we want him to know how much we appreciate him, giving him the Employee of the Quarter for the 4th quarter. I want to give him this certificate showing that he is, so they can hang this up on their desk and brag to one another that that's what I am for this quarter. And we'll give this $50 gift certificate for them to have. All right.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ben. Well deserved. Other than who he cheers for every sport known to man. Sorry. He still hasn't acclimated himself to the South yet.
He'll get there.
While we're going through the employee recognitions tonight, we also have 2 employees that are going to celebrate their 10 years of faithful service, 10-year awards, 10-year county employees. The first one, before I call her up, I did receive a text while we were in the work session from Superior Court Judge Brenda Weaver stating that she was stuck in court in Fannin County and could not be here tonight. But she wanted to make sure I read a statement from her regarding Miss Sandy Nicole Painter. She stated, Nicole is an exceptional employee who goes above and beyond her duties and does an excellent job. She's very lucky to have her working in the courts. I think Pickens County is very, very fortunate to have you as an employee. So if you would you come up to the front and we'll walk around with your certificate and give you your 10-year service award. It's one of those that we never have found a way to make this go faster. I apologize. Now the magic is to figure out which camera you want to look at. And then try to smile for the right one at the right time. Yeah. Otherwise, the picture and the progress is going to look funny when you're looking over here at the wrong side. All right. Thank you. Congratulations. Actually, let's just stand up here. Let's not. We do it every single meeting, and when we walk around, I think we're about to turn around and walk back around. So our next 10-year faithful service, I'm not going to read any great things or anything. I'm just going to recognize him because his hairstyle is incredible. Mr. Brian Z. Jones, our Director of Parks and Recreation, does a fantastic job. Has a massive amount on his shoulders all the time. I don't think he even realized he's been here for 10 whole years. But his wife Lindsay, I'm sure, does. So if you would come up, I'd like to recognize you as well and thank you for all that you do. Tell me that's not a good looking hairstyle.
It's 32, so I don't have.
All right, I think I got it. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. It's always an honor to get recognized when we have especially 10 and 20-year employees that have committed to serving the community for so long. It's always an exciting thing to do. Next item on our agenda, under our consent agenda, we did have 2 different proclamations. I'm going to go through the first one, and then I'm going to have Commissioner Tate go through the second one. The first one was a proclamation for the Order of Eastern Star Recognition Day. February the 24th was Eastern Star Recognition Day, and we did sign a proclamation at that time, stating, whereas the Order of Eastern Star is the world's largest organization for both men and women. Order of Eastern Star has been cornerstone of the Masonic family for over 100 years. The organization strives to take good people through uplifting and elevating associations of love and service, as well as through precept and example to build and maintain an order which is truly dedicated to charity, truth, and love and kindness. Whereas the members of the Order of Eastern Star are dedicated women and men who sincerely reflect the spirit of fraternal love and the desire to work together for good, whereas their lessons are based on Scripture and their teachings are moral. The service of others exemplified by members of the Order of the Eastern Star is a hallmark of the American character and is vital to our community. Therefore, be it resolved that the Pickens County Board of Commissioners proclaim February 24th, 2023 as Order of Eastern Star Recognition Day. So that proclamation was signed. We'll put that into the record that was done. The next one, because of who received it, being a relative of Commissioner Tate, I'm going to let him go through that one as well.
It's a proclamation for the Golden Deed Award recipient to Nancy Teague, or Aunt Nancy as I know her. Whereas the Pickens County Retired Educators Association awards the Golden Deed to an outstanding citizen of Pickens County, and whereas the Golden Deed Award recipient was chosen by strict criteria set forth by the association, and whereas Nancy Teague was chosen to receive this prestigious award for doing an excellent job in volunteering for numerous service organizations in Pickens County, whereas Nancy Teague has a caring heart, a willingness to serve this community, and has given unselfishly to the people of Pickens County, whereas Nancy Teague has played an intricate role in our community as a person of high moral character and integrity. Now therefore be it resolved that the Pickens County Board of Commissioners hereby is pleased to recognize Nancy Teague as the 2023 Golden Deed Award recipient for her outstanding accomplishments and for her dedication to serving and improving the quality of life for the citizens of Pickens County.
Awesome, thank you. I had the honor of getting to participate in their luncheon where they did present that award to Miss Nancy, and I think she was very appreciative at that time as well. So thank you for reading that. I can't call her Aunt Nancy, but we'll just call her Nancy. Outstanding job. Item 7 is old business. I do not have any old business before.
Yes,
Okay,
Lord.
so we'll move on to item 8, which is new business. The first is item A, a resolution to increase water capacity from Cherokee County. And then during our work session, Philip Dean, the Director of Utilities, presented an opportunity that we have to purchase additional capacity of up to 500,000 gallons of water per day. Not a requirement that we have to take it all, but that we do have the opportunity to get that at a wholesale rate, which would continue to be able to prevent us from having to pay any overage surcharge fees at a higher rate other than their wholesale rate that was there. That is a limited window opportunity that expires at the end of this month because their rate actually doubles at the end of this month because there are so many other counties and cities attempting to get a hold of water as well. The total cost of that is going to be $1,250,000 to get $500,000 a day worth of capacity. We do have ARPA funds that have been designated from an ARPA grant that was received in 2022. We've had dedicated for additional water resources, so there's no general fund, no tax burden on the citizens, but this does give us the opportunity to have water for the future of the county. So with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the recommendation of the public utilities to enter into a contract with Cherokee County in order to purchase the additional water usage.
Make a motion that we approve.
A motion to approve, a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I can only say I approve because of Philip's very motivational presentation.
I worked 2 days on that.
Well,
First time turned out. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? None opposed, so the motion carries. We will get that information sent over to them to get that processed. The next item on the agenda is something we've discussed several times. We finally were able to get a quote in. This is, if you know where the sidewalk is in Tate, between the Tate community and the Tate Elementary School, the sidewalk's been in disrepair for many, many years, falling apart. Actually is probably a fairly dangerous situation. We have received a quote that we can get that repaired for, it's $99,000, $99,050 to do the full sidewalk repair to where we can get that in place. That would be a SPLOS project, so that would come out of SPLOS funds. It'd be your SPLOS dollars that would be used to do that. The only thing we're still waiting on, we do need to enter into a motion, but if we do agree to enter into this agreement with Club Tech Incorporated to do the sidewalk work, the state highway, since that's on Highway 53, still has to give us approval for being able to go in and repair the sidewalk. We don't foresee there being a problem. The only difference is it was built as a 4-foot sidewalk and their new standard is a 5-foot minimum. There's not an extra foot that you can widen that because there is a drop off that's there. So if they will waive the 5 foot, then we'll be able to build it back at 4 feet. It's right at 10,000 feet. That's what it looks like, you know, if I can interpret this. So it is a 4-foot sidewalk that will connect all the way to the bridge at Tate Elementary School and then up to the Tate Depot at the railroad tracks, where it's to the end point. So I would like to entertain a motion to approve that agreement.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? None opposed, motion carries. We'll move on into our action items. The first action item is the approval of minutes. We have regular and work session minutes from February the 16th, 2023. I know these minutes were provided to each of the members of the board prior to tonight for you to have an opportunity to review and look through, but if you see no problems, do I have a motion to approve our minutes?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Before I forget to sign those, I'm going to go ahead and sign those. We'll get those through. All right. next item under action item is Rezones. The font shrunk way down whenever I moved to that slide, so I apologize for everybody that was trying to watch the screen whenever we went through, but it did have several different things. First rezone that is on the docket for tonight is a rezone request. Making sure I've got them in the correct order here. All right, a rezone request that was made from Cindy Petty on December the 27th, requesting a change in her land use classification of agricultural to rural residential on a .179 acre tract located at 825 Buchanan Road. The intended purpose of the rezone request, if approved, was to combine with the parcel that the home sits on. Public hearing was held on February the 13th, 2023 regarding the application, and the Planning Commission voted 5 yes, 0 no to approve the rezone request contained on tax map parcel 068113003. Do I have a motion to follow the recommendation from the Planning Commission?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. None opposed, motion carries. With approval. The next two are actually the same piece of property. It's voted on in two different categories, just for a brief explanation. One requires both a highway business designation and a conditional use in order for what the applicant had requested to be approved, and those have to be voted on as two separate items. So the first would be going through the change from agricultural to highway business, and then the second would be to vote on the conditional use. So I will read through the full basics on the first one for highway business, and the second I'll give the Planning Commission's recommendation at that point on it as well. The Pickens County Planning and Development Office received an application on November 23rd from Steve Griffin on behalf of the Pickens County Sportsman's Club, requesting a change in the land use classification of agricultural to highway business on a 10.21 acre tract located at 831 Old Jones Mountain Road East, Talking Rock, Georgia. The intended purpose of the rezone request, if approved, was to reactivate the outdoor shooting range. A public hearing was held on the 13th of February 2023, and the Planning Commission voted 4 yes, 1 no to approve the rezone on a 10.21 acre tract located on tax map parcel 010023. So I have a motion to follow the recommendation and get this before the board to vote.
Make a motion to approve.
So I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All right, so I will second the motion to get it to the floor so that we can discuss and vote. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the topic?
Yeah, this one, I watched the video and I listened to everybody's comments. I read through the package. Truth be told, I think by them adding this new range, it's going to give you relief. I say you, I'm looking right at Mr. Cantrell's. I know that you were voicing opposition to it, and I've known you guys for a long time, and I've got nothing but respect for you. But I believe by us approving this, it will provide relief and limit the noise that you're concerned about. And if we were to deny it, you're not going to get any relief. And at least at this point, Mr. Griffin has stated his willingness to work with you and be a good neighbor and try to limit the noise as much as possible. For those reasons, I'm voting to approve.
I want to just state my concerns with it. I take Mr. Griffin at his word that he will do what he says, but as some of the citizens commented, my concern is just when someone else is in charge that they'll reopen that second range and make it even worse. I think from what he says, if everything is true, it'll be better for now. I hope that, but I wish it would have been worded differently so that we could have had more knowledge that it would be closed forever. But that's why I have to vote against this.
All right, so since both of you have already indicated which direction you're going to vote, I know obviously I'm going to be brought in as a tiebreak on here. So while we're in the discussion point, I think what Josh is saying as far as the relief by moving the range, which I know was just a verbal commitment from the gun range during the Planning Commission meeting, that the loudest portion closest to would be moved to another. With the current range already being approved, we have no control over enforcing a change to there. We're at the mercy of taking someone at their word on that. With the approval of moving that, it moves that sound to the other side of the property versus if we denied, then that sound stays on that side of the property. Which puts us in a difficult situation because, as Josh said, I feel close to everyone involved on both sides of the situation, and I understand that the difficulty sometimes in trying to weigh the option of the back and forth. But I do believe from the statements that were made that will provide some relief. I also believe that there are opportunities that they have as far as their bylaws and things that they can do in votes as a board to enforce this to be something that they take on themselves. I do, like Commissioner Tatum, I wish there was a way we could enforce some kind of a change that was for the range as a total. I wish that we could say that the gun club all would have to follow the recommendations that were in place. But unfortunately, once that was approved, state law prohibits us from being able to make those changes to the existing, already approved land. So at this time, I know we have a motion for approval. I'll call on a formal vote for approval. All in favor?
No.
All opposed?
No.
So as a tiebreaker, I'll cast my vote in an aye for approval on the reclassification to highway business. It does lead us to the second portion of the rezone vote, or the conditional use permit. That was the second vote required out of this rezone request. I know the Planning Commission heard the same on what property it was to move it from agricultural to highway business with a conditional use to be placed. At the time it went before a vote with the Planning Commission, it was a 3-2 to vote with conditions placed on there. The conditions that were recommended from the Planning Commission included no shooting before 1 hour after sunrise or 1 hour after 1 hour before sunset, no nighttime shooting, no shooting on Sundays before noon, no use of tracer rounds, no use of exploding projectiles, no shooting on Christmas Day, no shooting on Easter Sunday, no rounds larger than .30 caliber. That was the recommendation that came forward as a 3-2 vote from the Planning Commission, was to include those conditions in their recommendation for approval of the outdoor firing range conditional use permit. Do I have a motion to follow the recommendation of the Planning Commission?
So,
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. That brings it to the table for discussion. One thing that I know was left off on the conditions that were sent over by the Planning Commission that was part of the original packet for the new property, and that was the construction of a berm to help dampen the noise. I know that was one statement that was provided, but it was never added in as a condition. I would like to make a recommendation that we include the requirement of a berm to be added to help soften any noise that would carry forward.
Yes, I like that.
As a condition.
You want to add the dimensions?
I'm sorry.
You want to add the dimensions?
To follow the same dimensions provided in the proposal from the Sportsman Club that they provided in the application. So, but that we actually put it as a condition for the approval process. Any other discussion or any other items?
just encourage you to continue to be a good neighbor.
I'm having a problem with
All right, so I have a move and a second with the discussion. The conditions were as read before, with the addition of a construction of a berm consistent with what was presented from the Sportsman's Club during their application process. With a move and a second, do I have all in favor?
Aye.
So all in favor? Unanimous, it carries forward. Next item on our agenda is the appointment of Mr. Eric Ledford to serve on the Pickens County Water and Sewer Board. This one's actually a difficult one for me to recommend. We intentionally held this open for a couple of months, and the reason being it was to fill the vacant seat left in the passing of Tommy Shaw. Tommy served on our water board faithfully and did an incredible job. Out of honor and respect for him, we didn't immediately rush to try to fill that seat. We wanted to I guess fill his absence would be the best way I can describe that. And the meeting room's just not the same whenever the meetings are conveyed. But Eric has expressed a willingness to participate and serve. So do I have a motion to approve Mr. Eric Ledford to serve a 3-year term, to complete the 3-year term that will expire December 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
I have a move and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. We'll move that forward. Next item is our guest comments portion of our meeting. We do like to try to keep that portion limited to 15 minutes and keep them at 3 minutes apiece, but I'd like to open the floor for anybody that has guest comments that is welcome to speak up.
Just for the record.
Yes, sir.
There was one item that on the original application, everything that Steve had put on there, that road being located by the survey, that they would allow the eastern side of that road to be a buffer. And that was not captured. So, you know, I guess we're through with it.
It's still agriculture, so the only thing that's over there is the camp and the archery.
Right. But
That will keep that entire agricultural portion as a buffer between.
Because you couldn't build another gun range on it because it's not zoned properly for that.
It would have to go before a whole separate process for any more to be built into that buffer space. That
We have no intention of doing that on that end of it or the south end, either one from that standpoint. In all honesty, logistically, it would not make sense because of the terrain.
Any other comments? With no other comments, it is now 6:01. I'd like to entertain a move that we adjourn.
So moved. I'll second.
We will adjourn. Thank you, everybody.